The evening was colder than usual, and the street lamps glowed dimly against the darkening sky. Ethan held his daughter Lily's small hand as they walked home after a long day. To the world, Ethan was a successful businessman, one of the wealthiest men in the city, but to Lily, he was simply Daddy. Despite the millions in his bank account and the grand mansion they lived in, his life often felt incomplete. Losing his wife years ago had left a hole in his heart that even his success could never fill. He poured himself into work, but Lily was always his anchor, his reminder that love mattered more than anything else. That evening, as they passed a quiet alley beside a small bakery, Lily suddenly stopped and tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, why is she sleeping here?" Her innocent voice broke the silence, and Ethan followed her gaze. There, against the cold stone wall, lay a little girl about Lily's age. She was curled up tightly as though trying to keep herself from disappearing into the shadows. Her clothes were worn and torn, her hair unkempt, and a small bag rested near her feet, the only possession she seemed to have. Ethan froze, his chest tightening. He had walked past scenes like this many times in his life, homeless people, beggars, children left to fend for themselves, but he had always kept his eyes forward, his heart guarded. But now, seeing it through Lily's wide, questioning eyes, he felt a weight he couldn't ignore. He crouched beside the girl and noticed how pale she looked, how her small body trembled even in sleep. Lily knelt too, placing her little hand carefully on the girl's arm. "Daddy, she's so cold," Lily whispered, her voice almost breaking. "Can we help her?" Ethan swallowed hard. In that moment, he wasn't a businessman calculating risks, nor a man weighed down by past grief. He was just a father, being asked a simple question by his child. Could he help her? For years, he had taught Lily that kindness mattered, but had he truly lived by those words himself? He looked at the girl again, and something inside him shifted. She could have been Lily. She could have been anyone's child, left unseen and forgotten by the world. Without thinking further, he slipped his coat off and gently draped it over the girl. Then, with surprising ease, he lifted her into his arms. She stirred, mumbling softly, but didn't resist. Her face pressed against his chest, fragile and trusting, as though her spirit had been waiting for someone to finally care. Lily's eyes lit up with relief. She clutched her teddy bear tighter, smiling up at her father. "Thank you, Daddy," she whispered. Ethan kissed the top of her head, his voice steady yet filled with unspoken emotion. "Yes, sweetheart, we'll take her home." As they walked through the glowing city streets, Ethan carried not only the little girl but also the heavy realization that this moment was about to change all of their lives forever. He didn't know her story yet, didn't even know her name, but deep inside, he felt that fate had placed her in their path for a reason he could no longer ignore. When the little girl opened her eyes the next morning, she found herself lying in a soft bed she had never dreamed of before. The blanket was warm, the sheets smelled clean, and sunlight spilled gently through the large window. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming, but then she saw Lily sitting beside her with a wide smile. "Hi," Lily said softly, holding out a small plate with bread and fruit. "Daddy said you can have breakfast." The girl blinked, her lips trembling. Where am I?" she whispered. Her voice was hoarse, like someone who hadn't spoken to anyone in days. Lily answered cheerfully, "You're at our house. Don't be scared, you can stay here." Ethan entered the room just then, carrying a glass of water. He spoke gently, not wanting to frighten her. "You're safe here," he assured her. "My name is Ethan, and this is my daughter, Lily." "What's your name?" The girl hesitated before replying in a small, uncertain voice, "Mia." It was the first time she had said her name in weeks, maybe months, and it sounded strange even to her. She sat up slowly, clutching the blanket as if afraid it might vanish. Ethan handed her the glass of water, and she drank greedily, her eyes filling with tears. I don't belong here," she murmured. "People like you don't keep kids like me." Ethan felt a sharp ache in his chest at her words. She was too young to speak with such despair, too young to carry the scars of abandonment. He sat on the edge of the bed, choosing his words carefully. "Mia, you don't have to worry about that now. You're safe, and you're not alone anymore." Still, she shook her head, unwilling to believe that kindness could last. She had lived too long expecting it to be snatched away. But Lily had no such doubts. She climbed onto the bed beside Mia, handing her the teddy bear she always slept with. "Here," Lily said, "he helps me when I'm scared. You can keep him tonight." Mia looked at the bear, then at Lily's smiling face, and for the first time in a long while, a faint smile touched her lips. Over the next few days, Ethan watched in quiet amazement as Mia slowly began to open up. She laughed timidly when Lily showed her toys, helped set the table during meals, and even waited by the big window in the evenings, watching for Ethan to come home. The first time she whispered, "Welcome back," when he walked in, his heart nearly broke. Each small moment reminded him that she wasn't just another lost child, she was a soul longing for a family, and maybe, just maybe, she had found one with them. One evening, the house fell into quiet worry when Lily developed a sudden fever. Her little body shivered despite the blankets, and Ethan felt the same helplessness he had known years ago when his wife was sick. He sat at Lily's bedside, torn between calling more doctors and trying to soothe her himself. To his surprise, Mia didn't leave Lily's side for a single moment. She ran back and forth, bringing cool cloths, holding Lily's hand, whispering soft words of comfort like she had always been part of the family. Ethan stood in the doorway, watching this fragile girl he had once found on the street now caring for his daughter as though they were bound by blood. His heart clenched with both pride and sorrow, realizing how deeply Mia longed to belong, how naturally she gave love when she had so little herself. Lily's fever slowly eased through the night, and by morning she managed a weak smile. Her small hand tightened around Ethan's and Mia's together. "Daddy," Lily whispered, her voice thin but steady, "don't let Mia go. Please, we need her." Ethan felt his throat close, tears burning in his eyes. He looked at Mia, who sat there wide-eyed, unsure if she was allowed to hope, and in that moment he knew his decision had already been made. The very next day, Ethan began the process to make Mia officially part of their family. Lawyers and social workers questioned his choice. Some relatives shook their heads, warning him that taking in a child with no background would only bring trouble. But Ethan's resolve was unshakable. For the first time in years, he wasn't acting out of business logic or financial calculation, he was following his heart. He had built companies, signed contracts worth millions, but none of those victories compared to the feeling of signing adoption papers that would give Mia a home forever. Months passed, and slowly, everything changed. Mia no longer flinched when someone raised their voice, she laughed freely in the garden with Lily, she began to call Ethan, "Daddy," without hesitation. One afternoon, Ethan took both girls to the very street where he had first found Mia. He knelt down, pointing gently at the spot. "Do you remember?" he asked. Mia nodded silently, her eyes filling with tears. Ethan placed his hands on her shoulders, steady and warm. "You'll never sleep here again. You are my daughter now. You have a home, you have a family, and you are loved." Mia threw her arms around him, clinging tightly, and Lily joined the embrace, the three of them wrapped together in a circle of love stronger than any bloodline. For Ethan, the truth became clear. The greatest treasure he had ever gained was not his wealth or success, but the family built from compassion and love.